Hey guys, it's me again, DJ Charlie. In this video we're going to work on this little guy, this little toolbox here that I've decided to turn into what I'm going to call the mobile DJ or AV survival kit. Okay, so first off I'm going to start with some tapes. Duct tape, because why not? It should be in any survival kit, I think. You never know when you're going to need it to patch something. For instance, if you're doing an outside event and your tent or canopy gets a hole in it and it starts raining or whatever have you, it's a good thing to have. Next we have the electrical tape, because you never know when you might end up having a frayed wire or broken insulation, anything. I mean, there's multiple uses for this. Gaff tape. Always have a roll of gaff tape on hand. And for those of you who don't know what gaff tape is basically the same thing as duct tape, except this has an adhesive that basically won't leave that sticky residue when you go to peel it up later. This makes it ideal for taping down wires or cables on carpet or flooring or anything, especially in front of doorways, because you don't want anybody tripping on those wires. So anywhere around walkways, you always want to tape down your wires or have some method of covering them, like for a rug, for instance. I really want to start carrying some rugs with me, just rolled up to some of these mobile DJ gigs, because I never know when I'm going to need them. And a rolled up rug is so much better than gaff tape in my opinion, because it's wider. You can put it right in the front of the doorway where rugs belong, and when you're done you can roll it right back up and reuse it over and over and over again instead of throwing it away like you would gaff tape. But it's always good to have on hand just in case. You never know when you're going to need it. So buy at least one roll, if you can two, and put it in your survival kit, because you never know when you're going to need it. Okay, next thing to go in the survival kit are batteries. I keep especially 9-volt batteries for the wireless microphones, and I just found something at Harbor Freight that I was actually looking for that would actually help me reuse these batteries possibly, or at least make sure I have good batteries, because I don't want to get in a situation where the speaker or singer or whoever have you is on the wireless microphone and then the battery goes dead mid speech or performance or whatever. And I think this was somewhere between $4 and $6, I believe, if I remember correctly. But very inexpensive. Again, I got it at Harbor Freight. I don't see any on-off buttons here, so let's test it. Yep, full battery. That's really cool. It's got these bars here and it shows you, okay, 9-volt. Oh, it shows you the voltage here. Very interesting. So it shows you a voltage meter for 9-volt and then shows you a voltage meter for 1.5 volt. And it's very clear. So gives you green, yellow, and red. And if you ever drive a car, you already kind of know that, okay, green means you're good. Yellow means, you know, you're okay. But red means no good, dead, or about to be. So you got a 9-volt tester on the bottom. There's just these two little metal plates. And then this guy right here, you can test pretty much any other battery. AAA all the way up to D batteries, which are all 1.5 volt. So I think it's going to be a good thing to have. So that's going to go in here as well. Screwdrivers are always good to have. I got to find a flathead version of this, but Phillips head, flathead screwdriver, always good to have. Wire cutters, because you never know when you're going to need them, especially if you ever use zip ties or anything. Those are good to have. And I have the Sharpie. I think this is a good thing to have in your survival kit, because you never know when you might need to write something, so a pen would be good too. But I chose a Sharpie because I do label a lot, especially if I'm doing a massive, you know, concert show or something where I've got a lot of cables going into my snake. So I can take another tape I'm going to be putting in here that I don't currently have because I ran out recently, is masking tape or painter's tape. Put that in there and it makes great labels for cables, your mixing board if you choose to do that way, pretty much anything. So you got masking tape and your Sharpie, you're ready to label. LED flashlight, a small LED flashlight. This is actually very vital if you are having any problems, especially during the show, and you need to go check out your amplifiers or your cabling or something, and you're in the dark venue during a show or mid-performance, this is going to come in very handy. You can reach into your survival toolbox that you have next to you in your booth and grab it and go out there, find what you need to find. And so this is a very good thing to have in your survival kit. I just remembered I have something that's very crucial to any survival kit, to any mobile DJ or AV guy, and that's this guy. I really want to tell you about it because I love this thing. It's worked wonders. You know, as you know, I do a lot of permanent installs for venues and restaurants and bars and such, and a lot of times I'll even make my own wiring. This thing is great for testing any kind of wires, cables, anything you can think of pretty much. So I want to show you what this thing is real quick. It's very inexpensive. There are many testers that are similar to it that are much more expensive. This one's by Behringer. You can find it on Amazon or a lot of places, and I think, if I remember correctly, it was only about $30 to $40, which is not bad for a tester like this, because let me show you what it does. You can test XLRs, TRS or TS quarter-inch cables, RCA, TT, which is a if I remember correctly, a certain kind of communication cable, which I don't use, but you can also even test MIDI cables, and you also have your 1/8 inch stereo TS or TRS. And let me show you kind of how this works. So when you test a cable, it'll show you which pins light up where. So ideally, if the cable is good and was wired and soldered correctly, then you will see the 3 lights line up diagonally. That means that this pin is in the right place on both ends, this pin's in the right place on both ends, this pin's on the right place on both ends. But a lot of times, sometimes you get pins crossed, in which case you'll see 2 lights line up on one row, and that will tell you that you've got something crossed. And TS will show up as an X because it's not all. It does not have all 3 pins. It's only got 2, so it'll kind of show up as an X here. You can also send a test tone through it. So let's say you need to find a cable, and I've got it's kind of like a you can call it a wand. People call it a probe, sniffer. But basically it's an antenna that picks up audio signals. So if you need to find a certain cable on the other end of another building, or especially if you're on a snake and you need to find a certain end of a cable, you can plug this tester in on one end and then go to your other end and sniff it out and find it. Or you can even see this on the mixing board if you need to do it that way. If you have everything plugged in the mixing board and you need to make sure you have everything routed to the right channel, you can put this on a certain channel, send a tone through it, and it'll show up on your meters. It puts out both a 440 and 1K hertz tone, which is switchable by hitting the reset button when you've got it in that function. So this is a very versatile, very necessary, in my opinion, tool to have, especially in your survival kit, because if you ever have audio problems, you can simply take that cable that you're having problems with on that line, test it, and if it tests bad, you know it's a bad cable right then and there. You can stop what you're doing, replace the cable, keep the show going, and then label your other cable as bad and take it back to the house, take it back home or to the shop and resolder it or whatever have you. This is also great for making sure that if you do solder your own cables or repair cables, that you've done it correctly. Okay, that's it for this video. I know it was a short one, but just wanted to show you some things you can put in your mobile DJ AV survival kit, and some things that I put in there myself. Next up, we're going to be looking at my power box and some of the different power cables and extension cables and such and doodads that I got and use. And not only that, but I've also bought a few things from Harbor Freight, like I mentioned. So we'll see you next time.